सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः विष्णुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्ट्वा स्वस्तनूभिः इन्द्रो दृष्टस्य शवः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने आत्मज्ञानं दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। 15th shloka we have to see. Anyatha grinataha swapna. We missed this verse. Anyatha grinataha swapna. The Jagrat and Swapna both are called Swapna. Because the waking state also is a kind of Swapna. It's a perception. Anyatha grinataha swapna. As the waker and the dreamer, it is Swapna. Nidra is the sleep from the Jagrat point of view. It is Tattvam Ajanataha. There is no understanding. There is no perception. There is no Jivatvam is also understood, nor the Tattvam is understood. Neither Swapna is understood, nor Jagrat is remembered, nothing is known. He closes his eyes and he goes to sleep, and therefore it is a state of non-perception. From the Jagrat Drishti, it is a state of non-perception. And therefore, Tattvam Ajanataha, we can say. A person but that doesn't mean that ignorance has to be inferred from this Sushupti. It is not like that. Tattvam Ajanataha. Viparyasa, both of them are errors only. Viparyase tayoho. Tayoho means both of them. Viparyase. Both of them are only errors. What is evident if you say it's not evident, it's also an error. Whenever you make a different decision and not true to the truth that you experience, is an error about the truth. Therefore, if you take the Sushupti as Anyatha, there is no misconception in the Sushupti that I am embodied, but there is a Tattvagraha, and therefore Nidra Tattvam Ajanataha. Viparyase tayo kshine, when both the errors are gone, Turiyam Padam Ashante. Turiyam Padam, the Chaturtha Pada is understood. Chaturtha Pada, in order to understand the Chaturtha Pada, you can think of, you can discern between Atma and Deha. And this discernment itself will lead to understanding the Tattvam. And therefore, you don't have to think about anything else. You can think about only discerning between you, the aham and the idam. The aham is the atma, and the idam is indeed sarira. And between aham and idam, when you say aham, it should not mean idam. And therefore, when aham means only aham, aham is not idam. When you discern between aham and idam, that leads to understanding the Turiyam Padam. And therefore, because it is unlike everything, it is inclusive of everything. Atma is unlike everything, it is inclusive of everything. This you have to remember, please. Atma is unlike everything. It is unlike that is objectifiable. The unobjectifiable is definitely unlike the objectifiable. But it is not something, it is inclusive of everything. There is nothing parallel to it. The objectifiable is not parallel to the unobjectifiable. The objectifiable is inclusive of the unobjectifiable as itself. And it's not like it's including, it's not including like the water includes all the waves as itself, as water. It does not include like the fish. The fish it includes all the fish, but not as itself, but in itself. But it doesn't include the fish is there in water, but fish is not there as water. In the same manner, but the wave is in water, but as water. And therefore, even if we say it is in water, it means only the Tatparyam is only as water. And therefore, here also, the unobjectifiable includes all the objectifiables, and the objectifiables are in the unobjectifiable, in the aham only, in the aham, the atma, but as the atma, not the fish in water, not like the fish in water, but the waves in water. The waves in water are as water. In the same manner, the objectifiables are within the unobjectifiable atma, but as an objectifiable. And therefore, and that is understanding the Turiyam, please. That is understanding the Turiyam. Turiyam means it is something that is to be understood, that the Atma is something that is something that is unlike everything, it is inclusive of everything. Then it becomes Krishna, a complete being. And therefore, Viparyase Tayokshine. What is evident and think that it is not evident also is another error. And therefore, your Anubhav Swarupam. You don't have to experience it. It is already within experience. You have to recognize that it is within experience. And therefore, recognizing that it is within experience is what is. So that is Samyak Jnanam. Recognizing that what is within experience is Samyak Jnanam. If you say it is not evident what is, even though it is within experience, you try to experience it newly, then it is an error. Because what is within experience cannot be experienced again, second time. You can only recognize what is in experience. And you can only recognize. And therefore, that recognition is what is called jnana. Understanding that everything is within experience. One is sense evident. The Jagat is sense evident. And your existence is self evident. And the entire sense evident things are within the self evident. And then this is what is called Turiyam. Turiyam is understanding that the sense evident Jagat is within the self evident Atma. In the self evident Atma, you don't have to experience yourself. You don't have to meditate upon yourself. Understanding yourself is enough. There is no need for there is no such a thing called applying theory, applying practicality, etc. Those are practical things are of values, dharma and adharma. You cannot follow Vedanta, Aham Brahmasmi in Vyavahara. In Vyavahara, what you can follow is only values. Values are different from Vedanta. Vedanta is something that is to be understood only. There is nothing to be done there. You can't put it into practice. The values are different. Patience is also a value. To have the patience, to have the diksha, amanatva, dambhitva, ahimsa, kshanti, arjuna, these are all values. These values are only they are put into practice. You can't put Vedanta into practice, please. Vedanta is only understood. It doesn't have to be put into practice. Only the values dharma. And therefore the dharma for the jnani it becomes effortless. Whereas for the student he has to make an effort. And therefore what is effortless for a jnani, it becomes an effortful thing. for a student. And therefore, only the values are dharma. Dharma means the values. The values can be put into practice. You have to put into practice the values. Otherwise, these values are of no use. But then, fundamentally, you have to be a jignasu. Then the values can be put into practice. The values, the prayers, they all can be put into practice. But the Vedanta is to be understood alone. And this is what is meant by Turiyam Padamashnute. Turiyam Padamashnute means he enjoys the Turiyam, he understands the Turiyam. Ashnute means he understands. Vijanati, he understands the Turiyam Padam. And therefore, it's not that he enjoys, means the enjoyer and enjoyed relationship are different. He enjoyed relationship. When Swamiji, does he enjoy Turiyam? That means he is different from the Turiyam. Because the one who enjoys, as Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, I don't want to become sugar, I want to enjoy the sugar. He said, I want to enjoy the sugar, I don't want to become the sugar. He said. But in the same manner, here also, you don't want to become the Turiyam Padam, you want to enjoy the Turiyam Padam. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है जी. And you become the Turiyam Padam. And it is in the peace form. It is only serenity. You don't want to become the enjoyer. The enjoyership is only a karaka bond. Karaka bond is what's called enjoyment. And the enjoyment has a beginning and an end. If it has a beginning, and definitely any kriya has a beginning, any action has a beginning, and it has an end. And therefore, when you don't become the Turiya Padam, you only enjoy the Turiyam Padam, then you become only the enjoyer. And the enjoyment has only beginning and an end. And one day the enjoyment comes to an end. And therefore, afterwards again you will be suffering. And therefore, it is better to become Turiyam Padam. It is always better to become Turiyam Padam. Turiyam Padam means even though it is not possible to enjoy it without being it. You can only in Sushupti, you are only being the Brahman. You are only being the Turiyam. You are not being you are not enjoying anything. You are being the serenity. And therefore, you are not enjoying the serenity. From the Jagrad Drishti, he says, Sukham Aham Swapsam. I was peaceful, he says. Peaceful, he says. But then from the Sushupti Drishti, he was peace itself. He was peace, and even though we say he was peaceful, that is only for playing to the gallery. But otherwise, it is only peace. He was actually peace only. And therefore, we don't say he was peaceful. He was peace itself. He was serenity himself. And therefore, he was a consciousness himself. He was free from the body means he was consciousness himself. And therefore, you don't have to stay apart and enjoy the object. Enjoy the Turiyam. As Turiyam Padamashnute means, he enjoys means he becomes one. He is the one. He stands as the Turiyam. He stands as the Turiyam. When he is object. When he knows that he is unlike everything, but includes everything. That is Turiyam Padam alone. And therefore, he is unlike everything, includes everything. And that is Turiyam Padam alone. And that he understands. And therefore, Ashnute means he does not stand apart and enjoy. He stands as it is. He stands as Turiyam. And he stands as Turiyam. As Turiyam, he is peaceful only. He is peaceful or peace itself. Serenity himself he becomes. He does not, it is choiceless. Because even when you, even during your struggle to become peaceful, in your happiness, in your search for happiness, what you want to become is happiness itself. You don't want to become happy. You don't want to enjoy happiness. You want to become happy. happy individual, all right. But happy individuality also, you want it to disappear. Individuality you want it to disappear, and the individuality is only in limitation. Therefore, the limitation also goes away, and the having the limitation gone, you are only the absolute. Once the limitation is gone, you are absolute only. Please understand this point. And therefore, there is no enjoying the fourth pada. You become the fourth pada. The fourth pada means you enjoy yourself. You be yourself. Being yourself. Being yourself is exactly what it means. Being yourself. You don't have to become yourself. You have to be yourself. You have to unbecome the body. You have to unbecome you have to become free from the body. You have to understand you are not the body. And therefore, as not the body, you are unlike the body. And therefore, you are unobjectifiable or unlike the body, but you are inclusive of the body, etc. This in this manner, Turiyam Padamashnute. This we have seen. Then we have to see the Upanishad, the Upanishad Shruti Vakya we have to see, mantra we have to see. Soyam Atma, this is self. Soyam Atma, Adhyaksharam. Soyam Atma means, this Atma means, which has been described as Chatushpad Atma. I am Atma Brahma, Soyam Atma Chatushpad, it was said in the second mantra. The Atma that is having four pada, Soyam Atma Chatushpad, it was said. That Atma, Soyam Atma Adhyaksharam. Its name is Adhyaksharam. It is on the basis of Aksharam, Omkara. What is Adhyaksharam? It is on the basis of it has the name called Adhyaksharam. Called Adhyaksharam means it has the Aksharam, the name Omkara. I think Omkara is the name of the Atma, and that Atma is in Omkara. Adimatram, and even the Varna means Adimatram. It is called Adimatra. Matras I have got Omkar. A, Bu, Ma are the matras. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti are the padas of Atma. This is very important to remember, Ji. Swapna, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti are the padas. A, Bu, Ma are the matras. Matras are the padas and padas are matras, it is said. Just to say that Upayoho, Avidana Avideyoho Ekatvam. In order to show that the name is the named. The name is the named. There is no difference between the name and the named. As the Nirvisesha. As Nirvisesha, it is Avidanam is one with the Avideyam. Nirvisesham, Adimatram. Avideyam Pradanaha, Omkaraha Chatushpad Atma iti Vyakhyataha Jaha Soyam Atma Adhyaksharam. Aksharam Adhikritya Abhidana Pradhanyena Varnyamanaha Adhyaksharam. Varnyamanaha. What is in the first verse? It was said Abhidana Pradhanyena. Abhidana as Abhidana. Everything, the Brahman was described by its name Omkara. And later on, Brahman was described as Brahman only, as Abhideyam. Abhideya Pradhanyena Uktam. In the first mantra, it was described by its name. Brahman is everything. Everything is Brahman. The Trikalavastha, what is present in all the three periods of time, it is Brahman. What is the Avastha, what is beyond the three periods of time, Kala, Anavachanam also is Brahman alone. It was Brahman was described, not Omkara as the Shabda is everything. Omkara is Shabda, Omkara is the name, Abhidhana. Abhidhana Pradhanyena. Brahman was described as Abhidhana Pradhanyena. And second mantra, Abhideya Pradhanyena, described as Brahman was described in the second mantra. And therefore it is said, Varnyamanaha Adhyaksharam. Kim Punaha Tadaksharam Ityaha, Omkara. What is that Aksharam? Omkara. Omkara is Soyam Omkara, this Omkara, Padashaha Prabhivijamanaha. It is, if it is divided into padas, then Adimatram, Matram Adhikritya Vartate iti Adimatram. If Omkara is described as the matras, then it is called Adimatra. Adimatra, and the Pada Omkara is the Brahman is described as the Adi. Brahman is described in it is distributed into the form into the padas, and the Brahman has three padas, and therefore Tripada Atma. The three padas. That is only three padas are only nameable. The three padas are nameable. And therefore it is, but the fourth pada is not nameable at all. Adhikritya vartate iti adimatram. Katham atmanaha ye padaha te omkarasya matraha. The padas are matras and matras are padas. Just to show that the omkara, the abhidhanam is one with the abhideyam. Matras are padas and padas are matras. Matras are padas and padas are matras. Just to show that the abhidhanam is one with the abhideyam. There is no difference between abhidhanam and abhideyam. Kastaha, akara, ukara, makaraha iti. What are the matras? Akaraha, ukaraha, makaraha. These are the matras. Omkaras ka matras. Omkaras matras are called akara, ukara, makaraha. Tatra Vishesha Niyamaha Kriyate Jagrata Sthanaha Vaishwanaraha Yaha Saha Omkarasya Akaraha. The Jagrata Sthana, the waker is called Akaraha. The Jagrata Sthana is called the Prathamapadaha. Omkarasya Prathamapadaha. That Prathamapadaha is considered to be Omkarasya Akaraha. Akara Matra. Prathama Matra. Kena Samanyana Ityaha. What is the similarity between the two? Why is it called Akara? Why can't it be called Ukara? Why can't it be called Makara? It is said Apte. Apte means Vyapti. Akarena Sarva Vagaya. Sarva Vag Vyapta. When you open your mouth and push the air out, that is called A. When you push the air, just the sound of it is what is called A. That Akara is what is called Sarva Vag Vyapta. In the entire language, Sarva Vak Akarena Vyapta. The entire Vak is Vyapta by Akarena. Akarena means by the Akara. Why is it so? Because without opening your mouth, you can't pronounce any word. And therefore, there may be Utkarsha, but there may be extra effort. But then it is only Akaraha, that is, you have to open your mouth and recite, and recite the every letter. Every letter you have to take every letter. And so I am Vagvyapta. Akaro vai sarva vak iti shrutehe. In the Bhashakara it says, sarva vak, the entire akara, the entire speech is pervaded by akaraha. Akaraha means opening the mouth and pushing the air out. And for that, for every letter is pronounced like this, akara, sara, rikara, anything is has to be, you have to open your mouth and then the speech, the the level, the speech places may be different, but then it has to be the speech uh, places, the place of pronunciation may be different, but then for every letter you have to open your mouth and say the ah. You have to open your mouth and push the air out. Then alone you can pronounce the letter. Iti Shrutehe Tata Vaishvanarena Jagat. In the same manner, just as the akara pervades the entire speech, in the same manner, Vaishvanara, that means Virat, pervades the entire Jagat. Entire Jagat. Vaishvanarena Sarvam Jagat. The entire Jagat. The entire Vaishvanarena Jagat. Just as akara pervades the entire speech, in the same manner, the Vaishvanara pervades the entire Jagat. Vaishvanara means you are solely conscious being. You can understand that you are Virat only because you are indeed solely conscious being. As a solely conscious being, you 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 see the everything falls in you the consciousness. Otherwise, you cannot know. If you say that there is a sky, it is already known. What is known falls within you, the being. Otherwise, it cannot be known. If it is known, the air is known. If it falls within you, in you. Otherwise, it cannot be known. The air, the fire is known, and whatever is known falls within the conscious being, and therefore it is a known, and otherwise it cannot be known. The water also is known. The oceans are known. The entire Jagat is known. As known, it falls within. Therefore, Vaishvanarena, Viratena, Virata, everything in Jagat is pervaded. Virata, Virada, Vaishvanarena, Jagat. Tasya etasya atmanah Vaishvanarasya murdha eva sutayaha iti shrutehe. And also, tasya hava etasya atmanah, is atma ka Vaishvanarasya murdha eva sutejaha. His head is the heaven, his eyes are the sun and the moon, and his bladder is the varuna, the water, and his space is the space in his stomach is like the space. In this manner, it was said that is called. It means only he is a samashti sukshma sharira samashti sthola sharira abhimani. Just as an individual is identified with the body, the Virat is identified with the entire universe. And therefore, he is called, that means everything falls within the universe, within the conscious. Iti Shrutehe. Abhidana Avideyoho Ekatvam cha Avochama. We have already said that there is no gap between Abhidana and Avideya. Abhidanam is the same as the Avideyam. If both of them are the same, Ekatvam, then Abhidana and Avideya are Ekatvam, then definitely Abhidana and has only Nirvisesham. Otherwise, Abhidanam, one may think that it is only Abhidanam is only Gauna Ekatvam, but between them there is no relationship. There is only Ekatvam, literal oneness. And because there is a literal oneness, and therefore there is Mukhya Ekatvam. That Mukhya Ekatvam is due to the fact that they are only as Nirvisesham, they are one with the Nirvisesham. And it is the Nirvisesham that is being taught by the Shastra as the Karanam. It is the Nirvisesham that is being taught by the Shastra, that is being taught by the Shastra as the Jagat Karanam. As the Karanam, it is Avideyam, as the name, its name, because it is in relation to the universe. As Karanam, it has got Sambandha, and therefore in relation to the Jagat, means it has got Sambandha, and therefore due to that Sambandha, it is nameable. But then Nirvishesham cannot be named. It is not available for the word, it is not available for thought also. And that is nirvishesham. Abhidana videyoho ekatum cha vochama. Adirasya vidyate iti adimat. Akara is in fact adi, the first letter. And the first letter, and therefore we can say, and also Vaishvanara is the first pada. Vaishvanara is the first pada, and Akara is the first matra, and therefore Aksharam Tathaiva Vaishvanara Tasmat Samanyad Akaratvam Vaishvanarasya. And therefore Vaishvanara being the first pada, Akara being the first matra, and therefore both are first, and therefore we can say, and they are indeed they one with they are this is the similarity between the two. Vaishvanara is the first one, and Akara is the first matra, first letter, first matra, and therefore the ekatva vidaha phalamaha. Samanyada, this is the similarity between the two. Samanyada akaratvam Vaishvanarasya. Tadekatva vidaha phalamaha. There are two results. One result is Mukhya Phalam. The other result is Avantara Phalam. Mukhya Phalam is Brahma Vidya, Brahma Jnanam. If a person understands the Jnanam, if a person understands the Ekatvam, then he has got the knowledge of the Nirvishesham. And therefore that is the Mukhya Phalam. But the Avantara Phalam is something else. Avantara Phalam should be understood. Apnoti Havai Sarvan Kaman. A person who understands the Vaishvanara as one with the Vaishvanara is the same as the Akara. Akara pervades the whole speech, and Vaishvanara pervades the whole universe. Therefore, Akara is the first letter, and Vaishvanara is the first pada. Therefore, first pada is first matra. This similarity, the one who understands, and also understand Mukhya Phalam is Brahma Jnana Moksha, but as an embodiment, he is still there, supposing. Then supposing he is still there due to prarabdham, then what happens to him? Sarvan Kaman. He enjoys all the fruits of enjoyment. He enjoys all the desire, fulfillment of all desires. That is only Avantara. Adishya Prathamasya Bhavati Mahatam. Among all the great people, he becomes the first one. That is the Avantara Phalam, the secondary result. Avantara Phalam means the secondary result. The primary result is that he gets moksha. When the body falls, he has got Videha Mukti. When he is Jivan Mukta, that is Mukhya Phalam. But Avantara Phalam is, this is only, he fulfills all his desires. For his children are there. If supposing he has got children, whatever his children's desires that are, they will also be fulfilled. And he becomes among the Mahatas, the great people, he becomes a first number one. And therefore he said, Prathamascha Bhavati, he becomes the first one, Mahatam, among all the great people. Jayemum Veda, Yatokta Ekatvam Veda Etyeda. Therefore, the one who understands the oneness between the Abhidanam and Abhideyam, he becomes number one, Prathamaha, among all the great people. Among all the great people, he becomes number one. He becomes Prathamaha, he becomes the foremost. He becomes the foremost among all the great people. Otherwise, he is not, he is only this is what is called Avantara Phalam. Avantara Phalam means secondary result. But the primary result is moksha, because this is being taught only. The ekatvam is understood only Turiyam Padamashnute. Understanding the Turiyam, becoming a Turiyam, being Turiyam, to stand as Turiyam is the Mukhya Phalam. To stand as Turiyam Moksha is the Mukhya Phalam. Whereas this is the Avantara Phalam. Avantara Phalam is being taught. Avantara Phalam is a little different. Avantara Phalam means secondary result. Gaunam Phalam iti. Sarvanam Akam Sarvakaman Adishya Shabhavati Mahatam Yayam Veda Yatoktam Yatkatum Veda Ityartha. Swapnasthanaha, and similarly Swapnasthana. Swapnasthanaha Taisa. Swapnasthanaha, a person who is in Swapnasthana, a person in the dreamer is called, the waker is first pada. He is considered to be Vaishvanara. Taisa, and the second Swapnasthanaha is, as an individual, he is called Taijas. But he is indeed a Hiranyagarbha. He is indeed Hiranyagarbha. Because Vaishvanara himself is Hiranyagarbha. As half manifest, he is called Hiranyagarbha. Fully manifest, he is called Vaishvanara. Physicalized totally, he is called Virat. But as the source of the thought, he is called Hiranyagarbha. As the source of the Avyakritam, he is called Avyakrita Atma, he is called Ishvara. And the Ishvara makes the unmanifest manifest. Therefore, here it is said, Veda Yathoktam Ekatvam Veda Ityartha. Swapnasthanaha Taijasaha. Taijasaha Yaha Saha Omkarasya Ukaraha Dvitiya Matra. Omkar ka Ukara is Dvitiya Matra. Omkar ka Dvitiya, second Matra is Ukaraha, is Dvitiya Matra. And he the waker and the dreamer are the padas. The dreamer is only a pada. Dreamer is the second pada. And therefore, matra. Kena samanya nityatha. We say that the second pada is the ukara. The dreamer is the ukara. The dreamer is the ukara. The waker is akara. And the waker is compared to, is taught that you are not an individual, you are Viratiti. In the same manner, the dreamer also is said that you are not really the individual, you are indeed Hiranyagarbha, is going to be said. Nascha Bhavati. So, Utkarsha means, when a person says Akara, it is effortless. Open your mouth and then breathe out. Oh, ah. Then you have to round your mouth for ukara. That is called extra effort. That is what is called utkarshaha. That is called utkarshaha. You have to round the mouth. Then it becomes, in order to say oo, you have to do extra effort. And that is why that extra effort is what is called utkarshaha. And then due to that utkarsha, akara utkrishtaha. Utkarsha means utkrishtaha. It is greater. Iva as though it is greater. Akaraha, ukaraha. Tata taisaha vishwadu ubhayatvatva. Tata similarly, the taisa, the Hiranyagarbha is greater than, is subtler than the Virat. Virat is the first one. Is greater than, subtler than the Vaishvanara is. Subtler than the Vaishvanara is Hiranyagarbha. And therefore Hiranyagarbha is subtler. And therefore just as the Ukara is subtler, is greater than the Akara. Brahma. And then it is said, all right, this is the similarity. Utkarsha Ubhayatvadva. Utkarshati. And all right, when you come to know the ekatvam, if you come to know the ekatvam between the matra and the pada, then what happens? Utkarshati, avai jnana santati. And he always promotes the jnanam. He promotes the jnana santati. And he not only jnana santati means the perpetuity of jnana, promotion of jnana. He promotes the jnana santati. Samanascha bhavati. Nasti abhaya. And also he samanaha. He samanaha means samanaha means mitra pakshasya eva shatra pakshanam apradveshyo bhavati. He is not hated by the mitra. He is not hated by the shatru also. He is the same, similar to the same. He is the same because Turiya Padam Jnanamana Samanasya Bhavati. He is the same as Mitra Pakshasya and Shatru Pakshasya Samana Bhavati. Tulyo Bhavati. Tulyo Bhavati Ityartha. Tulyo Samanasya Bhavati means Tulyo Bhavati is the same as to the Mitra and the Shatru. And therefore he is the same as the Shatrumitra Pakshanam Apradveshya Bhavati. Abrahmavidasya Kulaiva na Bhavati. And a person who doesn't know Brahman is not born into his family. Abrahmavit means the knower of the Brahman. Abrahmavit means the opposite of it. The one who doesn't know the Brahman. No person remains ignorant. Everybody is born ignorant, that is all right, but then he will not remain ignorant. Everybody will come to know in his kula, in his family. Everybody will be knowing the truth. Without knowing the truth, nobody can remain ignorant. And therefore, Kule Bhavati, Evam Ved, that is the Avantara Pala. That he promotes the Jnanam. Mukhya Phalam is Moksha. But the Avantara Phalam is that he promotes the Jnanam. And also he is not hated by the Mitra and the Shatru Paksha. And in his family, no Brahmavit is born. This is the Avantara Phalam. Avantara Phalam has to be understood. Sushupta Sthana, Prajnaha. In the Sushupta Sthana, the one who is being in Sushupta Sthana is indeed Prajnaha. Prajna is indeed Ishvara. Prajna means, Prajna is told, you are not an individual, you are not an Vyakti, you are indeed absolute. And Ishvara is absolute. And therefore you are Sushupta Sthanaha Prajna, Makaraha. And as Makaraha is indeed the Matra. Makara is the Matra. Prajnatvam is the Pada. And therefore Makara, Tritiya Matra. It is Tritiya Matra. It is Tritiya Matra. First is Akara, Ukara, Makara. And it is Tritiya Matra. And the Ishvara is Tritiya Pada. Matra, Mitehe. What is the Samanya? What is the similarity? Mitehe. Just as Prastaha. Supposing you take a measure and then measure the paddy or anything, when you measure, it goes in and comes out. The paddy goes in and comes out. It goes in and comes out. Goes in, comes out. In the same manner here also, everything, the akara, ukara, they go into makara and then come out. In the same manner here, prajna also, it is said the two matras, makaras tritiya matra, mitehe, apiterva, minoti hava, idagam sarvam apitishya bhavati. Minoti means he measures, which prajnana, vilaya, utpatyoho, pravesh nirgamabhyam, prasthena yavaha, like even the yavas, how they are measured. They go into the prastha and they come out of prastha. In the same manner, prastha means a measure, a kilo measure, or whatever is the measure. It is a measure, it's a kind of a measure, prastha. And that kind of measure is an old kind of measure. Nowadays it's all in kilos, but in those days it's all measures. And therefore measures sarvama apitishya bhavati, minoti. And the makara has the measures. The akara, ukara, they disappear into the makara and they come out of makara. And you say again, it comes out of makara. Minoti hava idagam sarvam apitishya bhavati. Evam veda apitishya bhavati. It is said punaha prayogecha pravibhajya nirgachita iva akara ukara makare. Apiterva. Apitir eki bhavata. Eki bhavaha. एक ही भाव. When he comes to understand, minoti hava idagam sarvam apitishya bhavati. Evam Veda. Apitishya bhavati means he comes to know the ekatvam. Apitishya bhavati means, apiti means they become one. The abhidhana and abhideyam become one. The pada and matra become one and the same. Evam Veda, the one who understands. Omkara cha उच्चारण अंत्य अक्षरे एकीभूतौ विकार अकार वकारौ तथा विश्वतैजसौ सुषुप्ति काले प्राज्ञे अतः अतो वा सामान्याद् एकत्वं प्राज्ञमकारयोः प्राज्ञा एकत्वं प्राज्ञमकारयोः prajna is the pada, and the makara is the matra. Between the matra and pada, there is ekatvam. Means what? Abhidhana and abhideyam, ekatvam. And that ekatvam means nirvisesham. And he understands the nirvisesham. Apitishya bhavati. Vidvat phalamaha. Minoti va sarvam, idagam sarvam. Jagati. Jagat yathatmyam janati ityartha. Vinoti means he understands the this is Mukhyapalam only. Jagat, the actuality of the Jagat, he understands. Vinoti means he understands the actuality of the universe. And that is not Avantrapalam, that is Mukhyapalam only. That is Mukhyapalam. Vinoti hava idagam sarvam jagat yatha janati ityartha. Apitischa jagat karanamatma bhavati ityartha. He becomes the jagat karanamatma. He is only Karanatma. And even though he becomes the Karanatma, but he is once he becomes the Karanatma, once he understands that he is the Karanam of everything, then he is no longer the Karanam. He remains as the Nirvisesham. He may understand the Karanam because Karana Jnanam leads to Nirvisesha Jnanam. Bhavati ityartha. Atra avantara phalavachanam pradhana sadhana stutyartam. And here we have got avantara phalam. Avantara phalam is only to show that the great glory of Mukhya phalam, the sadhanam for Mukhya phalam is glorified here. When we say avantara phalam, it is Mukhya phala sadhana. Mukhya phala that is pradhana sadhana stutyartam. Pradhana sadhanam is what discerning between Atma and Anatma and understanding the Atma. That is called Pradhana Sadhanam. Pradhana Rupena Sadhanam. Phalavachano is Avantara Phalam. Avantara Phalam is nothing. Avantara Phalam is perishable, whereas Mukhya Phalam is non-perishable. It is eternal. And therefore, in order to praise that, this Avantara Phalam is given, just to show the contrast. And then Atrayate Shloka Bhavanti. Here are the other shlokas. There are other shlokas are there. Now the Karika Kahara comes. Vishwasya Atva Vivekshayam Adi Samanyam Utkatam. Vishwa is the first pada of the Brahman. Atva Vivekshayam. Atva Vivekshayam means he is indeed, Matra is Atva. Akara is the Vivekshayam. It is considered to be Atva, Akara, Amatra. Vishwasya Amatra. Vishwasya Atva Vivekshayam Adi Samanyam Utkatam. What is the Samanyam? What is the similarity? Akara pervades everything, all the entire speech, and Vishwa pervades Vishwanara pervades the whole Jagat. In this manner, that is the Utkatam. Matra Sampratipattau. Matra and Sampratipattau. In understanding the Matra as Matra and Pada as Pada. Syad. Apti Samanya Mevacha. Apti is the something that is. Apti is that everything is pervaded by the Akara and the entire speech, and Vaishvanara pervades the Pada, first Pada pervades the whole universe. And therefore Vaishvanara, the universe is pervaded by the Vaishvanara, and The speech is pervaded by the akara. And samanya memacha. And the more of it we will see in the next class. Thank you, Ji. This we will see Atrayate Shloka Bhavanti. This shloka we will see the next class. Now it is time. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, Ji.